Happy Friday morning, everyone. Texas versus Texas A&M tonight. Feels different not having it the day before. This is Rivalry Week Takeover, and it's brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. And guess what? Black Friday promo, guys. Ultimate Fan Bundle, 50% off annual subscription. Come join. It's a hell of a deal. You do not want to miss it. You can see all of these guys' incredible writings. Gentlemen's, it's the big one. It's the big one to cap off the season. And A&M's actually good this year, which is unfortunate. So this will be a fun roundtable to break down. We actually have some real analysis here. But let's start off, Justin Wells. We are at home. What's going on with those recruits?
Yeah, so they've actually got a really nice little recruiting visitor list coming in today for the A&M game for Senior Day. They've got an official visitor, which I think is the important one, in Boulder DB Teray Davis, because I feel like they want one more defensive back in this class. It's going to be Teray Davis or Josiah Villamel. That's a kid they really like out of Fort Bend. We're going to see how it goes this weekend with Teray Davis. They've got some really, really nice 2027s. And while they're trying to kind of, finalize 2026, signing day is Wednesday, they're still putting it in a lot of work with some of these 27s, 28s, and 29s. The guys to know are like Easton Royal, the number one wide receiver in the country out of Brother Martin. He's going to be on campus today. A kid down the road that Texas really likes, in Waco Midway running back Lathan Wisenhunt. He's another one that I think Texas has they really like him. That's a kid to kind of pay attention to. But we'll have some more at Inside Texas later today in the Humidor. We got some stuff. We got some commit news from the University of Texas class that Joe and I are kind of working up that, kind of clear the floor and let everybody know kind of what's going on. But right now, today is about the commits coming back and getting together. Dia Bell, Chris Stewart, a lot of those kids are coming back, hanging out. Jet Walker will be on campus. And it's really about, kind of solidifying where they are with those kids. But ultimately, this is kind of a day for the older recruits, younger rather, for your 27s, your 28s, your 29s. They're getting their first big taste of a big Texas football game at night. I think Sark even said this was only the second SEC game they've had at night at home. And so essentially, I think it's going to be one of those things where Texas needs to lay the foundation for the future in some of those recruitments.
Thank you, Justin Wells. Joe, weird week, right? Didn't get all the press conferences we normally do. It's short, but what was Sark's messaging? I thought the CFP stuff was interesting. He was like, I'm not even talking about that. So some unique stuff. What did you find interesting?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That was the first thing I was going to mention. He said, hey, he was asked if you want to talk about your CFP resume. And he said, you know what, I really can't feel comfortable talking about it until after the game with whatever the result may be. Obviously, if the Longhorns fall, then there's no conversation to be had. But Texas wins this game and wins it in any sort of style, Sark's going to have a pretty good platform with a lot of good data points. And there's going to be data points against him too, but he's going to bring up all the ones in Texas' favor. But I thought it was interesting. He said, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to wait. I got this game. I got a short week to get ready for it. This isn't the time for me to go into detail on that one. The other notable thing from the beat, only one real media availability this week, and it was on Monday. Texas did not put the seniors who are walking in this class in the game notes. Yesterday on social media, they posted a graphic that had 23 players. There's only one junior, and it's Connor Robertson, who's a fourth-year player, member of the class of 2022. So none of the draft-eligible juniors are listed as about to participate in these activities. That could change up to kickoff. The other kind of surprise player or notable player who has eligibility remaining, who's going to go through it that we know right now, is Hero Canoe. And for some reason, Texas lists him as a senior. He should be a junior. He redshirted, kind of like Connor Robertson, redshirted in 22, played 23, 24, now is here at Texas. And he was pretty non-committal on Monday about, whether he was even going to go through this process. And as I think a lot of people have pointed out, you can go through this and you can come back. We've got Will Gallagher pictures of, Michael Taft holding the bouquet and running through the tunnel. We've got pictures of Byron Murphy, who didn't have a senior year, holding the bouquet, running through the tunnel. So the rules are pretty lenient on this. So Hero Canoe being honored at Senior Day as a senior, not a big surprise, but definitely something to continue to track as the year goes on, as the winter goes on, and we find out what his plans are for that year he has.
Good stuff. Ian, you're going to tell us about the Texas offense, man. What are the keys here?
It's possible Texas could try to get into a shootout in this game, throw the ball around, and just keep pace and win this game in the 30s if the defense doesn't show. But I don't think that's the best path. I think they want something a little more like the Oklahoma game, where they try to maintain possession, stay ahead of the chains, avoid bad third downs, and avoid a lot of obvious passing situations where Elko can blitz them. So with keeping in mind that A&M knows that Texas wants to throw perimeter screens all day, I think Texas actually has to run the ball somewhat to win this one. They don't have to blow it open like Missouri did. That didn't even do Missouri that much good anyway. But I think they got to be able to sit on the ball a little bit and pick up gains running it. And the most surefire way to do that would be to run arch, run zone read, if they're capable of it, as much as they can. Sark likes to default to using extra tight ends. I would go the other way. Spread A&M wide, let them vacate the box, and then try to use arch. And if it's a shootout, it's a shootout. But to me, that would be the more likely way to help the defense and try to control this game at home.
We're due for a Wisner activation.
Yeah.
So that's what I need to see, because he shows up in rivalry. We need you, Wisner. We need you, brother. All right, Paul. Texas defense been struggling. A&M offense not been struggling. So what are the keys there?
Well, I like what Ian wants to do, but sometimes in a game you have to do what you have to do. And I think this game is going to be played in the 30s. So the Texas defense has not been on a good trend line. And it's not about injuries. It's something that Ian and I were really vociferous about at the time when people were saying, when we get Taft and McDonald back healthy, it's all fixed. No, it's broken. The pass D is broken. The defense is being coached worse than their talent. That's the reality. So when you try to project these things, you try to look at what you've been, what current snapshot of what you think you are, and what you think you can be, right? What we've been at the beginning of the year was a good defense. And then as it unraveled and fell apart schematically, we're not a very good defense. A lot of good athletes running around, but not playing very well together. And that's kind of where we are right now, even as of Arkansas and certainly Georgia, right? Then there's a question of what can we be? Well, those athletes haven't gone away. I mean, they're still really talented. There's not 10 other schools with better pure defensive personnel than Texas in college football. If we can get everybody to play together, if we can sort of unscrew ourselves, there's a real chance. And there's one specific area where there is a chance. Demetrius Crownover, the right tackle for A&M, all the A&M pass offensive linemen are good pass protectors, or at least above average. He is probably the most vulnerable to speed. And then the guy next to him, Armaj Reed Adams, who had a few words for the Texas team in the pregame hype buildup, calling them cowards. He's not their best pass rusher either, at least comparatively. Their left side, left tackle to center, is locked down. We got to get Colin Simmons over there. We got to get Hero Canoe over there. And we have got to bring it. Also, they're not great in pass pro from the running backs. They're not great at pickup. And Le'Veon Moss being out is a huge deal. So we've got to bring it. We got to bring an extra man. We got to look at manning up underneath just to keep it simple. I think there is a on paper preference for playing a loose zone, not letting him get over the top and making Reed execute. We can't execute that. I mean, I think that's pretty abundantly clear. We can't execute zone concepts right now. Guys don't know who's got who. At least when you're playing man underneath, you can point at a guy and go, I got him. You get into the problems of Craver and Concepcion running a lot of scrape routes and rub routes, but that's something you got to deal with if you can get pressure. If you can move Marcel Reed to his left in the pocket and set a containment trap over there and get pressure in his face, you could speed him up. He'll throw high. He'll throw picks. He'll throw it away. He'll get sacks. He might fumble. That's the incubator. That's the little incubator we've got to create to get stuff done on defense, because I don't think we're just going to get them off the field on third down, and have them go 2 of 14 on third down and we put in a dominating performance. I think we got to turn them over. I think we got to be super opportunistic. And then A&M, not great in the red zone. So if we're going to bust, let's not bust inside of our 20 and give free touchdowns away as we did against Georgia. So that's the recipe. We've got to have the athletes play like the athletes they are. But frankly, the guys on the sideline need to unscrew themselves. Those coaches on the whiteboard need to come up big tonight, or else I don't know how many points Arch Manning's going to have to put up to win this game.
All right, before we keep going, let's hear a word from Laura Baker.
If you're looking for a home in the Austin area, there's only one number to call. That's Laura Baker at 512-784-0505. Laura's a part of the elite Andy Allen team at Keller Williams Realty. She's helped Longhorns find their dream homes all over Central Texas. You can just ask our very own Ian Boyd, who moved from Michigan to Texas with Laura's help. Whether you're searching in Austin, Round Rock, Georgetown, San Marcos, or even parts of the 254 or the 210, Laura has you covered. So call 512-784-0505, or you can email her at laura@andyallenteam.com. She's a Longhorn, a friend of Inside Texas, and the person you need to call to get your next home in Central Texas. Call Laura Baker today. Contact info is in the description.
Thank you, Laura. Eric, what were the highlights of the team news you were able to gather throughout the week, my brother?
Yeah, Ian and Paul kind of set me up perfectly. I can synthesize what they were saying with some of the conversations I've had, even this morning, one with a donor source, with Ian talking about wanting to exert game control. The most physical game that they had this entire season, or the biggest disparity, was probably that OU game that Ian referenced. That's kind of what Sark has been lamenting all week, is that they've got to be the more physical team. If they can do that, they're going to be able to hold on to the ball, and they're going to be able be in more third and shorts, which they've got to do. So I think there's some confidence that this could be a Trey Wisner game. We've been hearing that all week. That they've got to be able to do that. To Paul's point, we wrote in the article last night, the Insider Post, go check it out, especially take advantage of that promo, is that the goal is to keep it simple. And one of the donor buddies that I had texted me this morning, he says, hopefully keep it simple means man. I go, yeah, I don't know if it necessarily means that all the time, because you can be very simple in zone. I referenced Vanderbilt being an example when they should have ran a lot more man, because you had so much pressure with Colin Simmons and Ethan Burke, and we were playing really bad zone that game. I think it's going to be a mix of both. But the whole goal is keep it simple and do your job. That's been the emphasis all week, even if it's run fits, if it's in coverage. Man, it sounds like a bare bones fundamentals game. And if we get that, they can play fast, play hard, and if they're physical, they've got a good chance to win this game.
All right. Now,
hey, a quick word on that college football playoff resume. If Texas does win this game, and I know people have written off playoff chances because of the last rankings, I understand that, and you're probably right, but that committee is making it up on the fly. and here's the reality. If Texas wins this game, they're going to have played the number 1 team in the CFP rankings, the number 3 team in the CFP rankings, the number 4 team in the CFP rankings, the number 8 team in the CFP rankings, and the number 14 CFP ranking team with a 3-2 record if they win against A&M tonight. There is no other better resume, if you believe in strength of schedule and strength of record, for any sort of non-conference winner than Texas. So we'll see if the committee is actually going to live up to their purported standard of valuing schedule, of valuing teams pushing themselves, of valuing teams stretching themselves. Because if you have a 3-2 record against the top 14 and you've played, 4 of the top 8, I don't really understand why we're talking about Oregon or even Michigan ahead of Texas. If Michigan beats Ohio State, all bets are off, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too when Sark deferred on that conversation. Is he does have a lot of points in his favor, especially if they win this game. They'll have one loss since the bad Florida loss in the SEC opener, and that was to Georgia on the road. And you can even squint and make a case that game was more compelling until it fell off the rails late. So the more I think about it, especially when you realize politics and money play a big part of it, I'm not ruling out Texas either.
It feels like the problem is that it would have to come at the expense of other SEC teams, because there's likely to be 5 SEC teams with only 2 losses.
Well, let's let Lane go to Florida today or something.
I was going to say some stuff's going to happen today and tomorrow, Ian. That you can count on.
It may or may not, because it feels like everybody's got their hardest games.
That is true, and it may or may not. Auburn and Alabama. Auburn's going to play them tough. Auburn plays them tough. It seems like more often than not.
Tennessee and Vandy, it's going to be who has the ball last, right?
Right.
Yeah, but that's not. There's Tennessee isn't even one of the 5 ahead. It's like
Vandy.
Ole Miss,
Vanderbilt is.
Vandy, Ian.
Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Alabama, A&M, and Georgia are all lost column wise ahead of Texas.
Yeah. Sure.
And they don't play the toughest teams.
Well,
overall.
ACC is not getting a team, and we're putting in 6. Thank you. You heard it right here. We just broke news.
Do they keep a spy on Reed all game?
They rotate their spies, so that's not going to say that he won't break contain at some point, but they tend to rotate their spies, and they just don't make it obvious. So you might not see it necessarily on TV unless you rewind it and see who has him. But it's not the old school spy where they mirror you across the line 5 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Right.
They rotate it. It could be anybody from Colin Simmons, Trey Moore, or Ty Anthony Smith in the second half. Leon, it could be any of the linebackers or Colin.
I have a guess on that. So Trey Zune right now for A&M is playing lights out as a left tackle, as a pass protector. I'm sure we'll test him early and see. If it's not working out, whoever is on that edge, I think might be the designated spot.
Yeah, just drop him anyways. Yeah.
How much better is that guy over last year?
Right.
Really? Wasn't he a center or a guard last year?
He must have improved a lot because he was running his mouth before last year's game and got worked pretty good.
Players are allowed to improve. We used to do that in Texas.
Development.
Here's a fun one. Do you guys think A&M is better than Georgia?
No.
They are very different.
They're more dynamic.
They're more disciplined on the field and behind the wheel.
They're better drivers.
They're more explosive on both offense and defense. So sometimes that works out. It's a difficult math problem to solve, which is
Georgia's floor and their ceiling are the same. Right? A&M's a little bit more high-low, depending. Georgia's they're just kind of a machine, and they're going to play like good every time. They're not going to play great. They're not going to play bad.
Before this Texas game, it would be Georgia over by 3 over A&M on a neutral site. Don't you think, Paul?
Yes.
Maybe a little bit more.
Prediction time. Justin Wells, what's your score and who wins?
It's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be similar to Texas and Arkansas game last weekend. I think both teams are going to come out firing. This is going to be in the 30s and 40s. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think the crowd's going to be lit. I think it's going to be a show at night. But I'm kind of leaning towards Vegas. I think they still had them at 2.5 this morning. I think A&M is a field goal better. I think Mike Elko is coaching circles right now. I think this guy is just really consistent. They know their identity. They know what they're good at. They don't make a ton of mistakes. I think this is the year A&M makes a run at it. I think they win 37-34.
Joe Cook.
We talked to Billy Lucci from Texags a couple of days ago, and we kind of went back and forth about how the positioning of each team, as I'm pretty sure my daughter set off my car alarm, is in different spots compared to last year. Texas was on the precipice of the SEC title game, top team in the country. A&M was fighting for a spot. Now it's kind of flipped, as have the locations. And I don't see a similar game. But I see a result where the road team wins. I have A&M 30-24.
Ian Boyd.
I don't remember exactly what score I picked. I think it was 34-24 Texas A&M. I think this game is going to be back and forth. Each team will have some runs, and then Texas is going to run out of juice, and A&M is going to pull away.
Paul?
I really, in my heart, I could see optimistic, rosy scenarios, but ultimately I have to go back and watch the team that I've watched play. So I've got it Texas A&M 31, Texas 30. I think we lose in the second half late and heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Eric.
Can't wait.
Save the graphic.
Oh, man. I'm going to, screw. I'm going to buy into the rosier scenario. The home crowd. I do believe that Texas is one of the best teams that they've played all season. Maybe the best team certainly the most talented team that they've played so far. I'm going to buy into the keep it simple, stupid narrative that the defense is able to pull that off. I think that Arch Manning is a better quarterback than Marcel Reed. He just doesn't have quite the support around him, but he's playing very well. I'd see 34-31. I was coming into this, I was probably leaning towards the Texas comeback, falling short. But, screw these cowards. I'm going to go with Texas 34-31.
Someone has to pick Texas. Thank God.
Yeah, I was gonna say before the chat turns on everyone, y'all are just.
Yeah, I've been wrong enough this season that nobody's going to remember this if I stack on another L, man.
It'll be all good. All right.
At least we won't have that graphic like on game day where it's like all one team.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, look, frozen takes, cold takes.
Yep.
Hey, I think we do have a super chat, Connor. We want to get to.
Is it a new one?
Connor. Love on the super chats.
All I had was Quentin's.
Marcel Reed is mid.
Yeah, I threw it up and when Paul was
Oh,
talking.
okay. You didn't reference it.
Well, I mean,
you were talking.
makes a
I wasn't
good
gonna pause
makes
in
a
the middle.
decent
We didn't have
argument.
question marks on it. He had exclamation points. I guess we
Quentin
don't.
finds whoever is deemed one of their better players, no matter the team. Quentin will give us a nice super chat. Call that player mid. Quentin has no respect for any other team.
He's consistent. That's why I dig him.
Well, his little league team, I think it's little league, right, Quentin? You guys were throwing up W's all season, so I'll give it to Quentin. He's doing a good job there, guys. Guess what? Hell of a deal going on right now. Black Friday, 50% off annual subs, guys. Ultimate Fan Bundle. Join for a whole year, half price. I do love Black Friday. All right, everyone. Fun game. I'm excited. We will see you on the pregame show starting an hour before kickoff. And then, of course, we will see you in the postgame show. Everyone have an absolutely great Friday until the big game. And this was Rivalry Week, and it was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Later, y'all.